Hey guys, David Hughes Theater Advice. Today we're going to do a video what I call Let's Talk Subs, and this is going to be a loaded conversation because it's something that people just love bass, and they're talking about it all the time. They're on the forums, and I just see so much information about there, and a lot of it's opinion, some of it's factual. I'll kind of go over my opinions, and you can kind of take that for what it is. Here's the deal. There's a couple ways to get bass, right? You can get bass by having a large box like that one over there. So this is SVS PB 3000. So large container, I mean the thing is just massive, right? It's almost a coffee table. You get into their larger stuff like their 16s, and I mean you can literally sit next to it and put a drink on it. So it's large cabinet, smaller amplifiers, ports like holes and things like that to move air. So now you're moving extra air. But because of the ports, because of the size of the cabinet and everything, you're going to get less clean bass, right? So there's give and take there, like I talk about in all my videos. Sometimes there's not give and take. I feel like throwing enough money at a problem, but in the real world, the real home theater design, what we normally do here every single day, there's give and take. So one way to get a lot of movie bass is large driver, smaller amplifiers, because that's obviously some expense, holes, giant cabinets. When you start getting into sealed boxes, now you're getting less bass, so that's something like this SB2000 here. So in an SB2000, it's a nice subwoofer. You're getting a 12-inch driver, it's moving good air. It's gonna be cleaner, a little more musical, faster, responsive. But it's not going to give you that kind of that belly bass where you just you sit in the chair and you kind of wonder if someone's got something under there, vibrating the chair. That comes from the larger subs. Or you can go, hey, but what if I want both? What if I want sealed, fast, and responsive, and I want movie bass too? I want it to rattle my house. I want to worry about the room structure. Okay, that's bigger amplifier, bigger cabinet, bigger budget. So there's no way around that, right? Clients call me all the time. They're like, oh, Dave, I really want more bass. And I'm like, cool, you have to have more money. And we're very honest with people about that. There's no way to get more bass without more money. They want to go and turn up the dial, and that's just going to blow it. So rule number one, please don't do that. Calibrate your sub for your room. If you want more bass, buy a bigger sub, buy a better sub. You're not going to get more bass from more bass volume. That's not what the volume knob's for. Almost never go past half. Most of my subs are set 25%, 28%, somewhere around there usually. And it's still earth-shattering bass, but I threw enough money at it. So when we have a client and they're like, hey, I got a $10,000 budget, that bass is going to be that SVS, the ported subs, your Paradigm ported subs, your Klipsch ported subs, your SVS ported subs. Those are going to move a lot of air. They're going to give you that theater experience. Godzilla's going to thump through the room. It's going to be fun, but it's not going to be musical. Your jazz is going to sound like garbage because there's no way to get precise, fast, accurate bass out of a big ported kind of underpowered sub. But for depending on the budget, that's what you're gonna get. But here's my love of subs, and I'm a huge sub guy. My hierarchy goes like this. The best sub in the world is the one you see if you watch my home video. The JL Audio Fathom series is my favorite sub in the world because it's like violent beauty. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing what it does. It is so fast and so precise. It can be as musical as some of the most musical subs in the world, like REL, which we're going to touch on. But it's also just going to give you that gut-wrenching wow factor, and it's sealed. So they do that through large subs, excursion. If you don't know what excursion is, that's basically how many inches the driver can move forward and back without hitting the basket or creating any kind of rattling and stuff like that. You're getting into these subs that are, now you're getting into the super high-end subs where you're like, well, I want everything, and I don't care about money. I just want the best of the best of the best. And that's the JL. REL throws some stuff in there with like the REL Carbon. That's probably going to be my second favorite sub. I literally had 2 of them before I got rid of them for the JL. They're also less money, so it's not like I got rid of them because REL isn't a good company. REL is my second favorite company I sell. For people that want a musical sub, they are the best. You can get a couple of REL T9Xs, T7 on the center channel. Because of how REL works, REL uses line level. So what that does is it pulls basically like 5 watts off of the speaker jacks and it utilizes that to give it its information to deal with. And instead of sending LFE to it, which you can actually do both, and we might touch on that, but instead of sending LFE to it, you're basically taking, when you deal with a REL, you're making the REL part of your speaker. So you're quite literally adding a subwoofer to the speaker in every way. And the way that they calibrate in their manual, and they tell you where to start on the crossover and where to start on the volume, and you basically sit in the room and you have another person kind of tick away at it with a constant bass note, and you are blending that speaker with your floor standers, or your in-walls at that point. It doesn't really matter, but it's about blending with REL. In my experience, in the big bass notes, in the big boy bass notes, like the thunder clap that happens in the Dolby Atmos video, almost every sub I've ever tested during that at high volume, you hear the subwoofer fail. You hear it chatter. You hear it. I've actually seen some subwoofers move around on the floor. They just can't really handle that bass, and my JL does, and that's why I bought it. But you know, 2 REL carbons in a room, in a music system, in a 2-channel system, like we have out there, and I'll do some B-roll on that at the end. It's an absolutely magical thing, because now you're dealing with a very high current amplifier in a good box made by John Hunter. I mean, it's kind of his baby, and it shows. It is one of the most musical, perfect subs I've ever heard. It just can't get there in the gut-wrenching theater realm, and I kind of wanted something that did a little more of that. The T series from REL, we sell it all the time. T9X, T7X, T5s. One of my favorite things to do in the world is to put 2 T9Xs in a room, a T7 on the center channel. So now you're adding an 8-inch sub on your center channel. So your center, I mean, when you watch Desolation of Smaug on The Hobbit and he's talking, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe a center channel sounds that good. And it's just adding a sub to it and calibrating it the right way. Sub on a center channel, one of my favorite things to do in theater. You know, 2 REL T9Xs, calibrated the right way. Throw LFE to just one of them just to give it that little extra oomph and turn it down a little bit, because it will kind of not handle all the frequencies, even though they kind of say it does. And you've got yourself a phenomenal music system and a great theater system. When you get into SVS world, I just love SVS. I love everything they do, because quite frankly, before I carried SVS, I just couldn't fill that void. I had clients that were just dying for more bass, but their budget just wasn't there, and they just wanted more bass. Well, SVS does that. All the way down to their inexpensive, you know, 1000 series. You get into their 3000 series, you're getting a 13.5-inch driver, high excursion, ported monster. You can get that sealed or ported, so if you want it to be a little more musical, get the sealed version. Get it in high gloss black. It's got the fit and finish of all of the other nice subs in the world, piano finish. Absolutely great subwoofers. You get into their 16s, and look, here's the deal. I'm not the biggest fan of that sub, because I like really tight, clean bass. But if you want gut-wrenching theater bass and you want to shock your friends, there's no better sub than a PB16 or an SB16. I mean, when that 16-inch driver starts moving, and it absolutely does the thunderclap, by the way. So it's the only other sub I've heard that just absolutely handles that without a problem. You know, it's just one of those monster subs that, you know, that you've got to have in a theater. Sometimes I put an SB or a PB16 in a room with REL, because I'm like, hey, just cross over at 60. Just only do the dirty work and let the RELs do what they do. And when that room is blended the right way, that seems like a weird thing to do, but you're not asking the RELs to do more than they should, and you're not asking the SVS to do things that it shouldn't do. So when that happens, it's like an actual bass symphony. JL Audio, I'll end with JL Audio. JL Audio, I love every single thing they do. Their Dominion series, it's okay. It's probably better than other things in its realm. But when you get to their E-Sub series, which we have behind that chair, but I'm not going to make him video behind a chair. When you get to the E-Sub series, in their 10 and 12, man, that thing it'll shake a room, but it's in a small, sealed, clean, beautiful cabinet. Their 12-inch is one of the best subs in the world for, you know, that $2,000 mark. And then their Fathom stuff, Fathom 10, super musical. I would put it in any high-end music system in the world. You get to the 12 and the 13.5 that I have at home, and you've just got bass perfection, and JL Audio has done that for a long time. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe this video as well. If you want to hear my opinions on anything, comment. If I get enough comments and it's kind of on the side, I'll do a whole video series on something totally different if you want. Obviously, we sell other subs that I love. The KEF 92 sub that's out there. I've heard it's just a phenomenal sub. But I'm a super lover of those kind of 3 brands that I talked about because they do 3 entirely different fun things so well. And yeah, just hit me up in the comment section. I'll try to get to as many as I can, and I really appreciate you guys. Thanks.